Another day, another flag fucker fancy. Well, there's been some news around where I live, of all things, which is kind of alarming, not gonna lie. So, in the past few weeks, it's not even been like 2 weeks, like, it's actually been a week and a half fully since I last went to where I was going actually, and I won't say obviously because of anonymity, how do you say that? But it's alarming. There's more flags up around that area than there used to be. There's usually like two or three like every few houses or so, and suddenly it go blank, and then suddenly some more. But now they're kind of like every other house, which is alarming. Because as we know now, the flags are associated with racism and hatred. And this is for a very good reason. This is what idiots need to understand, if they can even understand to begin with, because it seems like they can't. It's nothing to do with waving a flag, Myself being LGBTQ+, wave the LGBTQ+ flag, obviously. And also I'm wearing the transgender flag, as in solidarity for trans people, showing my support. But there is a massive difference between these. Because one of them is pride for being who you are and saying that we exist and we're not going anywhere. But the other is complete hatred and stupidity, as well as just being unwelcoming. It's basically saying to people that if you're in a bad situation in your own country, you deserve to fucking die there. And guess what flag that is? The England flag. Yes. So it's very fucking alarming. And the one on the way back home was like, okay, this is just getting out of hand, because they're fucking everywhere. They're on one of the busiest parts of the city, I'd say. It's where people come in and out. And it's just gotten so out of hand, like, it's ridiculous how bad it has gotten. And these flags to me represent not solidarity, not pride of country, but rather hatred of it. So it's not actually about being proud of your country. It's actually about hatred and discrimination. It's basically all the things that people supposedly stand against, but suddenly they're standing for these things, and it's now become such an issue that it's pretty much everywhere. It's unavoidable. That's how bad this situation's got on, but yeah. Anyway, the point is, this really teaches you that people are still susceptible to this garbage. And it is garbage because, let's be honest, nothing here is rational. I've not seen a single rational argument, I've not been convinced. There's nothing. Well, there's something. I'd be like, yeah, I agree. But currently there's no evidence. And the only thing I could say, as someone who is as unbiased as I can be, is that the only thing with immigrants is they do take jobs. They do take them. But it isn't their fault. It's for some other reason entirely. That being billionaires. So billionaires are underlying all of this by not only offering low income, which causes people not to want to work that job, even though the job is already hard enough as it is. It also just means that the only people willing to take the jobs are people who are desperate for money. And these typically are immigrants and people of colour. So it's not surprising that this happens. But again, it's very hypocritical that we have people in this country who are just so willing to just flag fuck and just do this shit. Like, they haven't even got any facts, and that's the thing that gets me about this still, these months later. Again, if there were facts, I can easily side. Like, it's not hard for me to say, yeah, you got a point. But no, there's no point. So there is nothing here that's convinced me, there's nothing that will. It's ridiculous. So that's the situation at the moment, and again, I just feel just shame for this country. as usual. But it just seems to have gotten worse recently, and we're taking after America in that sense, which is really ironic because, well, we just protesting JD Vance a few weeks ago and Trump, not even like a week ago or something. Yeah, so what's going on here? You know, who's on what side at this point? It's fucking confusing. So people don't even know what they're fighting for in the end. So this anti-immigrant stuff, it's bullshit. It's not stuff, it's bullshit. So what gives? What is it? And you know, another thing I have to ask is like, how the fuck do these people hurt you? As far as I know, like, looking at it from the outside looking in, all immigrants have ever done is give. There's no supporting evidence to say that they have done the things that people are saying they're doing. But I'd easily say, like, yeah, if there was overwhelming evidence, fucking deport them, sure. But nobody's proven that, so I can't side with that side of the argument. So it's ridiculous. There's also this narrative again of people saying like the news don't report on it. They do. It's all the fucking time. But the only reason you don't see much of it is because it's rare. It doesn't happen often. Like even now, like since the fucking anti-immigrant stuff started, I can only count probably one incident, and this is since it started, not before where there was a few accounts, but since it started, the only recent thing is someone of Syrian descent opening fire on a synagogue. So that's the only thing. So, what then? Like, where's the evidence here? Like, why are we deporting them? That's what I want to know here. So far there isn't anything, so again, there's no reason to believe it, no reason to side with anti-immigrants. So, yeah, I'll get on and eat my food. Also having a bad stomachache, probably from stress, let's be honest. But I'm just so fed up with this shit. Again and again, it just keeps happening and I don't get it. Each and every time. And the only person I can really trust to solve the country's problems, ironically, is Zach Blatsky, who only really has one problem, leaving NATO. Again, I've talked about it here and it's dumb. But the only thing is really that. Other than that, he does everything correct. Does everything right. And there's nothing to complain about besides that. Everything's pretty on point. He's multicultural, multi-religious. He just supports so many different good causes, which in the end would benefit the UK. So yeah, that's all I say on this. Again, I'm fed up, I'm tired of this shit. You know, I want the world to be a nicer place, I want it to be peaceful. We can't achieve peace when idiots are believing stupid things. So that's where we're at with that, unfortunately. So hopefully things get better, but I'm not sure. So let's move on. Right, so the Windows 11 update has happened. I've got some things to say. First of all, the download and install. It took a fucking hour. What the hell's that about? Like, I'll just spoil it now, everything else went smoothly. That download and install took an hour. I was up at about, what, 5:15 for some reason. And I was too anxious to really say that, oh, I need to go back to sleep and just leave it. I didn't leave it. I instead went on and I was glad I did, because that install alone took an hour. Which is just absurd. I've had games installed faster. So that's very bad. And it got stuck on the like 97% mark, and it just struggled from there. It was like sort of stopping at that point, and then it took longer through that than it did the entire 97% leading up to that. So it was bizarre. That was the first main thing, and I gotta say I love the new notepad. It's nice in the eyes. It's good to have a dark mode version. It's going to be better for blue light exposure, I think, actually. So a weird fact about monitors for anyone who doesn't know, I think anyway, on some of them, to get true black colours and stuff, they just dim the lights, dim the pixels even. So it's sort of an energy saving mechanism, but it's also just really good on the eyes as well. Anyway, so once that was done, it said I was ready to update. Which is fair enough, showed me notifications and stuff. Went to update, and it went perfectly. Like, zero issues at all. It took 8 minutes in total, with 2 restarts. Really fast, faster than Windows 10 ever was, from what I remember, because I had to reinstall my DOS once. Yeah. But one of the most surprising things, other than the fact that so far Final Fantasy XIV is running, is they open up everything I had open on Windows 10. Because I was taking screenshots of shit to upload to a cloud, so I remember. And holy crap, like, also Discord looks different in Windows 10, that's weird. I think it's because of the curved edges. But yeah, it remembered almost everything, which is surprising, and say almost everything because it obviously forgot some things. It forgot Notepad, had one of those open. It forgot File Explorer, always have it open. It forgot Discord, and it forgot OBS. OBS is not surprising though. But weirdly enough, Discord, I think, was actually on my startup, so I don't know why that didn't launch. Only issue with Discord I just noticed as well, because I've had this running for about an hour now after the update. It's, for some reason, doesn't show notifications, it doesn't update, which is very odd. Because when I get notifications on like Value for Final Fantasy XIV, you know, you get a little ding or even like a notification on the side, or even the taskbar just flashing. Like, it just goes up because I have mine hidden, and it just goes up, it's like flashing, like, oh, you've got a notification. For some reason it had activity and it didn't tell me. There's no notification, I think it's only like, for some reason I changed it from orange to red, it flashes differently now. It changed from that to that really, and it didn't do anything else. I didn't see a notification anyway. I was laying in bed, so maybe I didn't notice, but even then, it's kind of crappy. So that's weird. I was also surprised that everything remained logged in. Steam logged in, Microsoft Edge logged in and stuff. Like, it's fucking crazy. I could also double check that I'm logged into other sites. I did check actually earlier. It was one of them anyway, YouTube. Yep. Logged in, yeah, still logged in. I should go to like YouTube Studio, that way double check it sort of works. It's not flagging me as suspicious, which is interesting. Yeah. And yeah, it's pretty much logged in. So I'm impressed so far. I'm not looking forward to using it and navigating Windows 11, but I'm impressed with just how accessible it's been. That's one of my big problems with technology to begin with. You know, there's a lot of hurdles in place, and it just makes you not want to do anything with it. Yeah, that's the only other thing it forgot to do. I had a load of Word documents open, and for some reason it's not kept them open. My journal, so I was updated to the 6th of October. Just say we can't up early. Updated Windows, installed, took longer, works fine overall. Yeah, it's pretty decent journal entry. What about performance? I've not noticed anything yet. It's not busy hours of. Okay, I got the first notification, but it only appeared in the corner. And this one's when it's rank, so I need to go to get that soon. Oh yeah, the volume's reset. That's a weird thing. Pretty much every volume reset. Final Fantasy XIV was loud as hell. I lost it this morning. So it's not great, honestly. It's an annoying thing with just installing games in general. That actually happens a lot. And you just wish it wouldn't. It just doesn't need to happen, does it? Like, what fucking gives? I don't understand why games can't start at like a lower volume for the first launch and have something like, please turn down the volume in one of the watermark screens. It's always so weird to me. Also, I'm expecting Final Fantasy 14 to go down for maintenance soon because I'm pretty sure there's an update tomorrow. It's just going to be annoying, but luckily I'm actually out tomorrow, so it doesn't really. Oh, actually, no. No, because, fuck. I'm going out late and the update will probably arrive at like 10 or 11. Right before I'm about to go out. It's just annoying. Yeah, I want to check the batch file quick to see if that works, because I have a thingy open because File Explorer kept crashing in Windows 10, which is very fucking annoying. I have a batch file to open all the folders that I had opened, well, basically default ones. Let me go onto the server quick to get this S rank, and I'll do that. Also, whether it'll search it, that's the other thing. For some reason, Windows 10 didn't want to recognise the file to begin with, so I ended up having to open up my folders to find it. Also, can you pin stuff to the search? No. Okay, save folder. No, it's not typing. Folder open. Batch file. No, okay. Fuck's sake. That's annoying. So like I said, I have to open that folder again. Also, is my drop down list still there? It used to be, but it's added random things I didn't want on there, so fuck off. But everything is, as it seems, everything's got like a fancy new icon and stuff, which I don't mind. It depends really. It's just going to be a bit of a learning curve. Was it flashing? I don't know. Let's open the batch file. But blue screen. No, and it's opening the files with ease. I'm pretty surprised. There was one other issue which I need to check at some point. I'll check it later. The files won't always appear with a thumbnail for some odd reason. It happens, I don't know, like, say a few years ago. I just started noticing like video files and stuff were not having icons. So when I was like looking for an animal video, for example, in my pictures folder, just I put them because I don't really know where else to put them. Like videos, yeah, but it's kind of disorganised, and I'd rather have it all in one place. But anyway, one of the big problems is it just kept showing a blank fucking screen. Also, I need to check the compatibility. So blank icons, like, you know, the default icon. It's just always annoying. Today, it's rank board. Trying to think what else was I. The only driver update I did was NVIDIA because I haven't installed a video driver in quite a while. So yeah, that's the thing. Let's do that. Let's see. Let's try not to dice this S rank because it's actually quite a deadly one. Some of the thumbnails working, I guess. I don't know yet. What to say? Let's just go walk away from this now. So some of it isn't working by the looks of it, which is annoying because I was hoping that would have been fixed. But then again, some of it's been replaced like the default open option. What was it? Properties replaced with that? What the fuck? That's weird. Yeah, I don't open my VLC anymore. It's SM play all the way, that's default, yes. Open. I'll show the thumbnail now. Let's open it, see if that works. Yeah, SM Player still works, has all my settings. it has speed up and stuff. Yeah, and the file opens, he is a big humper. If anyone's seen that animal clip. Also images. Does it open images? It's on one piece. And it's got a new sound, that's interesting. The phone has taken a while to load, it seems. Yeah, JPEG view works quite well. Yeah, it's not bad. It also seems a bit quicker in my opinion, doesn't it? Yeah, what else is there to say? What's that? Oh yeah, the taskbar I need to figure out, because I had it differently before. I don't like the entire like cutting off the fucking taskbar just to have some dots. I don't like that. Yeah, it kept my long drop down list. That's another thing. I have a lot of items pinned, and it's important to have those because I tend to have a lot of things to track. You know, if it's like TV, I was doing the stacking thing. That's the stacking thing on the what's it, taskbar. Yeah, that's weird. Yes, I don't know. Just some weird things here and there. My documents, yeah, drive update. Yeah, oh yeah, this is the other thing. My mic wasn't working. For some reason in OBS, it decided to reset all the sound drivers, which I guess kind of makes sense if you're just updating everything. But I don't know why it didn't detect it, because it was all reset to HYPERSKY 20 and my other crappy mic, just as a backup. So that was weird. I just noticed Notepad doesn't have any thingies. It's weird. It's unpinned everything. It's very odd. Okay, that's kind of a problem because I don't know where I put things. Okay, that's what that is. Can I pin it though? Yes, I can. Oh fuck. Yeah, it's just like a bunch of weird things with this, I think. I don't know how easy it's going to be to sort of do everything, and also like the fact I've lost a lot of things. You can't drag to pin it. What the fuck? That's bullshit. Like that used to be one of the great features of Windows. So now I have to fucking open it and then pin it. That's just stupid. Also, I could share it. What the fuck? I don't want to share it. It's a fucking notepad. Yeah, that's stupid. Another thing, I guess the tab function on Notepad is useful. Can you? Yeah, you can control tab to fucking navigate it. Awesome. Okay, I like that. Zoom in and zoom out is fairly easy. Still there. Not sure you change the settings. Remember you can change like the font and stuff. Let's see. Is there anything else I'm thinking of? I need to figure out how to move the fucking thing. Oh yeah, this sidebar thing on the bottom left, it shows the weather. It's so fucking annoying. It doesn't make no sense. Like, the hell? It's showing like news and stuff, like fuck off. I don't want to see this crap anyway. If we just bottom hold on, no. Show hide feeds. See feed. We just bottom these to close domain exchange, yeah, fuck off. Okay, that's better. That removes the news, it shows sports, which is interesting. Shows markets, I don't care. I don't open it, hide it. Games, don't care. Shopping, don't care. He's gonna hide it, I guess, but I wonder if it'll show back up. Yeah. I'm just not sure about some of this shit. It's a bit odd. Oh, yeah, one of the other things that reminded me, get started with Windows. I don't know why that's recommended. What does it do? It's not like an in-your-face thing. Actually, if we go for it. It's just asking me for a bunch of shit. Nope. Not taking any of that. This is very. Oh, okay. That's pretty simple. About colours. Don't think you can mix and match, which it sort of looked like it could. It's very odd. Do transparency as well. Not. That can be kind of helpful. I've heard Windows 11 is a bit more optimised, but I don't know how true that is. Fuck. Yeah, it's just weird things here and there I think I need to figure out. There's the other things I've got to do. Open up that and try and pin some of the important stuff, because I had like on Notepad notes for like mental health and stuff, and these are kind of important, making notes and stuff about mental health, but also strategies. I write them in Notepad, not Word, because I try not to inflate them too much. Yeah, it's odd. It's going to take a while to get used to this sound. This is not as invasive as Windows 10 was. Like, the new sound is a bit like, it's softer, it's quieter as well. So I can't really complain about that. Yeah, it's interesting. So that's the update. I think I've talked about as much as I can. Yeah, again, it's going to be one of those things, I'll discover things, otherwise I'll try to open the FL Studio. Where the fuck is that gone? FL Studio? Hello? Clip Studio Paint's here. Where the hell's F Studio? I don't know, it's under the fucking thing. Okay, it's still got the drop down, let's go just open that and I'll see what happens. I might as well pause this actually, I'll stop it. So I'll try and open Clip Studio and see what happens then. So I'll update in a sec. Yes, that's the other neat thing, I'm just waiting for FL Studio to open. Clip Studio Paint seems to be fine. Try and draw. Yeah, I'll need to try the drawing tab at some point, I won't do that yet. So that works. The other thing I noticed is it shows when something's happening on the icons. So, for example, if you have like, I think Discord even, it will show you notifications, or like it has a notification even if it's closed, for running in the background, which is really interesting. It does it on OBS, I think, but I've paused anyway. I don't like the dots underneath that, the taskbar icons, that's fucking annoying. It does show you which is open, I suppose, but even then it's a bit, eh. So how am I using 96% memory already? The fuck's even using it? I have 32 gigabytes. If our studio's using 18 gigabytes, they're just using like 50, it's weird. It's a bit problematic. Widgets is using like 19, like, what the fuck? I didn't want widgets. Why the fuck is this here? God, like if they force Copilot, I'm definitely gonna edit registry so it just stops that shit. So fucking dumb. Okay, it's opened. Let's see. Okay, it's not got to the top, which is annoying, so I have to open it via the taskbar. And it's working first time. Didn't need to change any audio settings. Also, my sticky notes here, so I can refer to that if I need to do anything to song. It's all good, saved. Yeah, phone mix changed a bit, I've noticed. It seems a bit more reliable, it's actually connected this time, where before it wasn't working. I typically use phone link to respond to text if I need to. So that's good, it's quite a relief. I was going to go into settings and change the fucking taskbars. See, taskbar settings. So have a look at this, Matchbox, no thanks. Because if you can just type it, yeah, just type it Windows key. So fuck that. Task view, what's that? That's task view. Not sure what task view is. Widgets off. Okay, bye. You won't be missed. Pen menu, not sure. Touch keyboard over tray icons, for this. Nothing important there, no. Could do with opening that audio downloader thing. Taskbar behaviors. Taskbar alignments. Okay, you could put it left still. But it has this annoying fucking separator and it just still separates everything. So I don't want it shortened. Show badges, is that it? No. Show flash on taskbar, that's fine. Show my taskbar on all displays, yes, I do that usually. Taskbars, I guess, yeah. This hand it shows the date and time on the other one as well. That was something that wasn't present on the other one. Share any window for my taskbar? No, what the fuck? What the hell does that mean? I don't get what that is. Select on the fuck one. Oh, is that what that thing was? On the notepad for some reason. Yeah, no, it's still there. Right. It did keep it organised, but I've ended up fucking up because it's so different. Combine buttons on high labels, what? But it's off, so why is it combining it? What the fuck? Customize taskbar icons, buttons, never, and hide labels. That's still not done it. It's just small taskbar icons. Why would I? Does look a bit better. It's a bit easier to see. But I don't like that fucking the dots. Like, how do I remove that shit? There's no option for it. That's one of the most annoying things so far. You know, I want to see everything. I had like 2 stacks on the taskbar of like smaller icons. So I guess I'll just go back to smaller taskbar icons, but that doesn't help. It still hides a lot of shit here. I want to get rid of this fucking dot thing. Notifications, it says, nothing there. Yeah, I've got to double check that. Because I disabled it in the registry, the action center, because it kept showing up with the fucking pens. When I was doing drawing and stuff, I just hated it. That's my behaviours? No, I've already looked at that. Okay, I'm gonna need to figure it out, but anyway, that's the Windows 11 experience, I guess. Bit of a long one, but again, still things to figure out. What's the other thing? It's something missing on the tray, I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's just more of that, I think, figuring it out. So, yeah, let's move on to the next topic. Yeah. So, 2 discoveries so far. First one, taskbar cannot be changed. It fucking sucks. But I've realised that depending on like what you do, the first icon that appears at the end here is like the focus. So say I'm doing music or artwork, well the artwork's actually further left, so it wouldn't actually. And maybe I'm gaming. But if I pick from the dots icon, like something like Final Fantasy 14, if I alt-tab and go somewhere else, go into Edge maybe, like oh, it's still on there. I like that feature. I've got to be honest, it does simplify things. But I just don't get why they're forcing us to do this. Because us experienced Windows users are going to find these problems. And you know, the more you remove, the more unfamiliar it becomes. So you just begin feeling like we're trapped here, like I was with Windows 10. Like there's some fucking shitty stuff going on. So it's just so bad. I don't understand the logic behind this. It's fucking hate it though. Like it just doesn't need to be a thing. It's so confusing though. Because yeah, I want an operating system that's better than the last one, but there's still this empty space here. Like, why can't it be filled? I don't understand that. But the other thing, what's that the other thing? Yeah, I think I'll just combine the two. Yeah, I think I did actually. Okay, that's weird. So whatever I choose as my focus, it just stays there, which is great. So I've got music. Yeah, if I ever do open up the tab again, I could just go down FL Studio. There we go. So I do like that. But again, I don't like that we're forced into it. So that's shitty. Oh, the other thing, that's it. Just remember now because I'm alt tabbing. It shows a lot more in the alt tab, but also you can scroll down. Like in the other one, you were just forced to scroll through everything and hope you land on the thing that you're looking for. That's like buried underneath like my 25 plus windows. Actually, it's probably even more. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait, I think I miscounted. 12. Yeah. 12. 40. No, 12. Fuck, I can't count. Plus 7, which is 19. Then another 5, so 24. 4, 28. And so 30 windows I have. No, 29 actually, because this other one is not a window. I don't know what it is. I think it's related to video card or something. But it shows all 29 windows here, and I just removed that one, and it fits them all together. I fucking love that. Like, again, people slam on Windows 11, and there are obviously bad things about it, which I've already highlighted. But holy crap, it is incredible. Like, some of these features are just good. And I don't know where the, what is it, what's it called? Oh fuck, I forgot what it's called, but there was something about this, I was like, yeah, that's good. Android feature, is it? Yeah, the Android feature. I don't know where that's gone, because I want to try that. But I don't know where that is. So I need to figure out that. So for some reason, Microsoft Edge is very laggy. That's what's going on there. Just looking for deodorant. It's like this type. Oh, deodorant. Review. And it's fun new stuff. I'm not good with deodorant. It's hard. The only problem is not just being male. So we'll just stick to like things that are not perfumey, but also things that are not strong. So it's difficult. I also can't have aluminum. I call it aluminum because it's funny. Aluminum containing stuff because it makes me choke and it does block my airways in a way. It's kind of dangerous. That's why I also can't be around stuff that's too strong. It's weird. I used to be able to wear links, and then suddenly it's like, oh, it's making me gag and cough, so no, I can't. Was it aluminum or titanium? It's one of them. It's like filled with this garbage, and it just wasn't helping. So I ended up going with like roll-on stuff. That ended up being better, but either way, Windows 11 is full of promises, but also broken hearts. That's one of the best ways I could describe it. It's like, eh. If I said it so far, if I prefer it over Windows 10, I don't know. It's too early to say, to be honest, but so far, again, it just feels like, even though these features are nice, I still kind of prefer Windows 10 overall. It's odd. Just feels like it's missing so much, and that's really what's happening here. I've seen so many people complain about this very thing. It feels like it's going forward in good ways, but it's going backwards in the worst possible ways. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway, I'll move on to the next topic. I need to finish editing episode 6 because I couldn't do that because of the update. Need to try and do that tonight, I guess. So yeah, I'll be able to go back to routine now, which is interesting. assuming everything saves properly. And then we put that back as a focus. There we go. Yeah, so let's see what next topic, I guess. Transition. So, fun File Explorer discoveries, which are new. I don't like the top bar thing. I wonder if there's a way to remove options. There's old options. Properties, nope. Okay, great. So stop with this shit, I think. Oh, unless it's on the show. Navigation pane? Nope. That's just navigation pane. Duh. Details pane. Somebody said there's a quick option for hidden items now, which I remember being a thing the problem before even. So you can see it, but the only annoying thing as well with this is the new thing here in the corner where you create new stuff. I used to right click for that and that was fine. You could still do that luckily, but the stuff in the corner might be just annoying. You know, I have to make a new text document for the podcast so I can write the timestamps, so I just make them as I go along. That's why I do that, and that's also sort of the gimmick here too. Basically, one of the good things with File Explorer so far, it properly highlights things now. Because one of my biggest pain in the arse is when I was like editing videos, for example, for funny moments, was seeing what I previously edited. And before it was like you have to rely on this blue thing as a highlight, and then when you're away from the screen, it would turn like light grey, or not light grey, actually kind of like a dark grey on top of dark grey, which is weird because it's dark mode. But sometimes it wouldn't even like show you like the thing you previously highlighted, is it? It still does blue highlights when you select multiple. But if you click off of it, if you've selected something and then you click off of it, off of any file, it highlights over a white border, which is actually pretty damn good. Also notice when I go into another tab and do the same thing, same File Explorer, it still keeps it highlighted with grey, which is good, but it's a lighter grey this time. It's one of the big differences I noticed, so it's easier to see things. So it's definitely good for like editing and stuff. Only problem is when I need to refresh it, and also it's a bit of test of time really. Also the delete buttons were out there, that's fucking stupid. They need to remove this bar, holy fuck. That's a really big problem. I wonder if there's a way to fix that. Yeah, like, so far the UI itself for Windows is not bad. Also, can you... Oh my god. You can literally... They've got fucking tabs for File Explorer. That's pretty good. I want to test something quick. So I got my music covers files. Let's put that with backups because I have them close together. So I want to back up this. Okay, hold Control, click it, drag. It takes you to that said fucking folder. Like you hover over it and it takes you into the folder, the same you would with other things, I guess. Yeah, like it's easy to make backups and group these now. Unfortunately, you can't just drag it onto the tab itself, but you have to go over the tab into it while still holding it, obviously. And it just works. So you just drag it into the location. It's pretty convenient. It's better than dragging it in multiple places. Also, does it show... Does it still show the covers somewhere? It doesn't. Okay. That definitely simplifies things, and that can also shorten the taskbar. So now I've got a way to group these things. I've got events of turn here, which I will come back to in the future. I could drag it onto this as well, and back it up this way. But this also means I can dedicate a entire tab to it, so... Holy fuck, that is incredible, and I can put videos in one place. Jesus Christ. I'm discovering. It simplifies things as well. Also, I found I removed show desktop thing on the taskbar. I forgot to mention that. It's really handy because I hate to click on that thing and it fucking makes everything disappear. But wow, I'm impressed with some of this stuff. The features are genuinely great. There's a bit of jank with the tabs, honestly. I've noticed here. You're trying to pair it together, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it just takes it back out. Man, that is good. That simplifies things so much. And now I've just got 3 folders open, that's great. And I've also got access to more icons. I could probably do the same with like Paint as well. Like, can I? No, because it's not Microsoft, yeah. Also, Paint has layers now, which is interesting. So it's kind of handy actually. It's one of my biggest pains with it, other than lack of accessibility anyway. Well, it is accessible, but it was too accessible, and layers were one of those things that's so easy to add that I was just surprised they didn't do it. Yeah, it's not artist software still, but it's good. It's good to have layers, because sometimes you draw over shit and you don't want that always there, can you? And you can make it visible and invisible and delete it, yeah. Somebody says Control Shift Delete, not delete. Sure about that, but you can move it. There's some good features, yeah. And it's really surprising, this entire experience. I was half expecting there to be a lot of problems. You know, just everywhere I go, with my usual routine. But there's not really much there. It's very surprising. You know, it's sort of futuristic in a good way. It's definitely more accessible. It does sort of have one of my big pet peeves with the with Windows 10 and just Windows 7 in there, I think as well had this. Maybe it was Windows 8. Is when you organise stuff and you want to sort by date modified as a default. Biggest fucking pain in the arse. So let me just go into pictures. It's kind of one I don't really use much. Let's see, I do a list. It has dates, but is that date? It's not date modified, but it is listed. Okay, so that's good actually. Because usually it wouldn't list that by default, but now it does. But it still isn't date modified instead of date. Just really fucking annoying. But yeah, that kind of works. Again, really surprised. There's been surprising things there. Just didn't expect. What have I got? A political fucking thing there. I've even got a political folder in that. I think I might as well make one. Doing the right click thing again. Great. Politics. There we go. Put that fucking shit in there. For some reason it's in my default folder. So remove that. Someone voted reform. They rejected the brain. As usual. Yeah, I'm discovering more and more things, and I think I will anyway, just moving forward. Yeah, there isn't really much to complain about after all the things I've complained about. Oh, I did see on settings for some reason. It says Microsoft Office is not really being supported anymore. Hang on, let me see. That's managed. I don't want that. Oh, it said somewhere that my version is out of date, which I don't think it is because I'm still paying for it. £85 fucking a year. It's weird. I don't know what's with that. It's a bit odd, honestly. Yeah, it just said it was out of date, and I don't really understand. Like, isn't this just Microsoft Office 365? Like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. It's just more Microsoft fucking in. I'll also have to probably explore the or is it? I don't want a solid colour as my background. I want an image. Luckily, you can't do that. You can also do Windows Spotlight. So, what's the Spotlight to say? That's a beautiful image. Yeah, let's keep that. That's impressive. I do like when you get just random images to see for photography, and hopefully it's not fucking AI. That made me turn it off instantly. Colours, I did look into this briefly. It's the dark custom. What's custom? You can choose like light and dark for atmos, okay. That's interesting. Okay, transparency effects on, accents, see all that. Ooh. Hello. Yeah, I like that. It changes like some accents. Doesn't seem to change much though. It was only like the clock for some reason. What about File Explorer? No. No, it didn't do anything. That's weird. Sure, I'll keep that. I wish you could do like multiple. Accent color automatic? Why not? Artwork, custom colours, I don't know. Accent color start on taskbar. Oh, that's why. Okay, there we go. So what was it show based on? Let me log into the game here. Fuck off, oblivious. Does it change it based on the background or what? What's the criteria here? It's not changing though, so I'm guessing it's not based on game or program. Okay, no, it hasn't changed. Not bad. Show accent color on titles, yeah. Why not? It does look nice, yeah. It's got like an accent around the border, which is interesting, like an outline on your focus. That's pretty nice. Yeah, contrast views, the usual contrast stuff. You can make windows look ugly as hell. Yeah, that's all there is for personalisation, which is weird. There is more. Okay. Just look at colours. For some reason I think back didn't go back. You got different themes. What's theme 20? What? Why have I got? Is that Genshin Impact? I think it is, yeah. That's weird. I don't know why that's a theme. There's nothing to themes, unfortunately. It sucks. Dynamic lighting, what the fuck is this? Use dynamic lighting on my device. What the hell is this? No dynamic lighting compatible devices detected. Is this like LED lighting or stuff? I don't know. Lock screen, I'll keep it as is because I always like the way it is. Let's invert that. Start. Don't know really do this. You can change the look of it. Do more pins, that's probably better. More recommendations. Yeah, there's nothing there. Taskbar I've already done. It's already part of the crap. Fonts. So you can change font now. Okay. Oh, you could drag and drop fonts. Okay. That makes it easier. What the fuck though? Like, are you kidding me? You can find them on the Microsoft Store. What the hell is this shit though? You know, you compromise so many things and then you add something good like that. It makes no sense. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's personalisation. I don't think there's anything else to look at now. What about gaming actually? I didn't think about gaming. Game bought off, yes. Graphics, what about this? Auto HDR, let's go. Advanced graphics settings, hardware, GPU scheduling, yeah. Acceleration. I don't know why it's still listing Genshin Impact today. It's Starrail even. I don't even have them installed or deleted them. Color profile. Wait, what's that about the nightlight? No, it's display, what the hell? Yeah, still the light. Did they change anything on nightlight though? No. Okay. Go back to gaming then. Game bar graphics. What's graphics now? No. Oh, it takes you to display for some reason. You do that. So I'm guessing HDR stuff is fixed for the most part. Can't really see much about that without display rate. 170 Hz, that's right. It also says my brightness for 418 nits. What the fuck? What was that thing? It doesn't even say that on my Asus monitor, which is weird. Huh. And I'm also going to change the refresh rate here as well. Do dynamic refresh rate as an option. I don't have it exactly. Not found the more HDR certification, so it doesn't have one. Let's go back to gaming, see if there's anything else. That's game bar, done captures. Ooh, let's turn that off, record what happens. No, turn that off. Turn that off. Fuck off. No. Game mode is on. Maybe that's why it's lagging. Probably want to keep it though. Actually, no. I don't really play many intensive games other than Final Fantasy 14, but it's not that bad. So, I don't know. I might just remove that and see what happens. Yes, more exploring into Windows 11. Sorry about that if you're not interested, but technology is my thing. It's all my bread, but it's not exactly my butter. So, let's move on. Well, I've got some more news on Windows 11, and it's not good. It can do things right, as I said, but it can also do things so terribly wrong. This time it's actually a weird issue because it used to happen, I'd say like 5 or 6 years ago. Weirdly enough, actually, that's interesting. Because if it happened all the way back then, okay, I've had anxiety for longer than I thought. And then I've known about it. That's weird. Okay. I used to get really bad anxiety around my PC going to sleep, and this is a big thing because I didn't even know PC sleep was a thing. I also had my computer on, listen to something through headphones or something, maybe. And yeah, like I'd just leave it on all night, every day, and it wasn't healthy for it, obviously. But I didn't even know the sleep option was a thing back in Windows 8. And then Windows 10 came out and I discovered, like, what the hell is sleep? I think I clicked it or something, I can't remember exactly what I discovered, but it went to sleep, supposedly. I was like, oh, it's a convenient option, but how do I wake it up? Stupidly pressed the power button and stuff, I think, and it didn't turn on. Sounds like you have to move your peripherals to do it, so yeah, that happened. I discovered it, and then it came with its first issue. It kept waking up randomly. For no reason. And I checked obviously I do troubleshooting, but I checked everything. I checked command prompt, and it didn't show anything. Like, literally, it said USB device, and it didn't say which. So, whether that meant it didn't work, and eventually I was able to get around it and find something in the administrative stuff to disable. One of the only fixes that worked. And yeah, it never really bothered me since. It stopped waking up in the middle of the night, it stopped waking me up. Because that's what it was doing, essentially. I was losing sleep from this shit. And the anxiety around it waking up, and then, yeah. I got too comfortable with it, and for years it's been fine. Like, literally never had an issue with it since. And then it started, well, now, it's starting to have issues. I tried to put it to sleep just after I ate lunch. I wanted to go and do something. And I went to get something and then came back, and then noticed that my computer was still running. So something was off here. So I did it again and then discovered, or double checked that games were closed, because that usually stops it as well, like when there's a replay buffer on OBS. If for some reason it does it. That's the only time they didn't go to sleep on PCs actually. Anyway, I'll check that, nothing. So the game was already closed, so it shouldn't have woken up. Did it again, and it's still awake. Then I did some troubleshooting. I looked at the, I think it was energy or something. Look at what draws the most energy or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, what draws the most energy at the moment, and it basically said my microphones or OBS. So obviously not being unable to sort of let go of my microphone, I decided to close OBS and go to sleep again. This time I woke up for no reason. I did a last week check, as you can do with power config, and it said button press. Like, no I fucking didn't. Like, what the hell that is, like, that has to be a bug, because it was not a button press. It's just, why? It's so fucking stupid. And I even said like here in the notepad, like 100% it is not. Because I was like away from it, I was on my phone. I wasn't anywhere near it. I'd moved my mouse to check that it wouldn't wake up, and it didn't wake up. So it's not the mouse. So whatever it is, I do not know what it is. But after that, I just ignored that anyway, because it seemed like there was nothing there. I did it. It went to sleep finally. And it stayed there for a good, I'd say, 45 minutes. And yeah, it didn't wake up, which is good, I suppose, but why did this begin suddenly? Wasn't an issue before, but suddenly is an issue now. What the fuck? It makes no sense. I even checked as well, I tried playing things from my phone, because PhoneLink will update with that sort of thing. But speaking of which, there's another issue I need to talk about. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that was the sleep issue. This next issue is very fucking bizarre. So, for some reason, when I go to do something, and I pause a video, because I forget that I can take off my headphones to pause it. If I pause it and then take them off, it seems to autoplay the fucking video, which it's not supposed to do. Like, these are new headphones, they have the feature to basically pause when you take your headphones off and then play when you put them back on. But this instead goes through a binary system, so it goes pause, play, pause, play, pause, play, regardless of what you do. If you put them on, you can pause them. If you put them off, then you'll play. It's fucking broken. I don't know if that's a headphone issue. Technically, could go into device manager and update the drivers, so I'll do that now. Don't know why I didn't think of that. There they are. Update driver, such automatically, there we go. That might do it, and I might do the same for the mic. I'll do the same for Rocksmith cable too. So that should be fine now, hopefully. But man, this is fucking weird. Oh, I don't understand this shit a lot of the time. So the video thing is a very annoying issue, because I'm out there making dinner or something. There's a video I'm already currently watching, and it will suddenly just start playing, and I lose my progress because it's been hijacked by Windows, by the headphones supposedly. And yeah, and I just lose track of it because, like, oh, it's playing already. It's been playing for 45 minutes. It's gone on to the next video. Great. Just so fucking annoying. Come on. I suppose there is a third issue here, actually. Windows still hasn't fixed the issue of missing tabs in Device Manager. You're supposed to be able to see the power management for everything in there, but you can't see them still for some reason. I have no idea why that is. That's just very fucking stupid. Because you need to know where you can power manage this shit. Like, it's so ridiculous. If I was to open this as admin, for example, I can't apparently. Okay, that's weird. So let's say I want to power manage my USB devices, maybe. So keyboards, yes, keyboards. 6 of them. I want to go into them. Like, oh, there's one device with that. It's just weird. So there's weird niche things like this, but even then, like, why do some devices have it and some don't? Why don't you just fucking label it? It makes 0 sense. Like, why is this a thing? You know, look at all the HID keyboard events here, and they've all got power management. But the things that are supposedly keeping awake do not have that. So what gives? Why is this fucking stupidity about this shit? And not even the tonal mic has it. That was a crappy one I got. Not even Locksmith. Not even the headphones. So again, what gives? Why am I not able to access this? It's so ridiculous. And that's all leads on to the final, hopefully final issue anyway. My internet still bugs out. It's fucking annoying. As I said, when I wake up my PC, I'm not sure if I've talked about this actually. It tends to have this issue where it doesn't connect to the internet. I'm unsure if it's router related or Ethernet or anything, because I've never had this issue before. You know, it's always like, oh, I can go on my PC, open the internet, it's fine. I've never really had to wait for it. And that's really weird, you have to wait for it to connect. I have no idea what causes that. But I just can't understand why that's a thing. And it seems to still have that issue. Admittedly, it's like a few seconds shorter to connect, but it's still not great. Oh yeah, the other thing, I found another thing. On top of that shit, I can't find where to access my Wi-Fi. There's actually nothing here. Well, there's no Wi-Fi button, Ethernet connected, okay. That's as close as we can get. I can't see anything else. There's like no way to quick connect shit. Diagnose network problems, no network internet settings, that's not helpful either. So yeah, there's like nothing. So how the fuck are you supposed to connect? Like, so bizarre. You know, on the on my laptop, you just click on the icon and it shows up the Wi-Fi. Like, there's a Wi-Fi icon. But here, I don't know how to access it because it's not there. Like, there's nothing. You can quick turn on night light on there. That's handy. And live captions. That's interesting. That's kind of cool. So it gives you captions to things, I guess, if you're watching something. Accessibility, magnifier, narrator, color filters, live captions, mono audio. Mono audio is kind of handy actually. Wouldn't use it all the time because I already have an in-browser one, but it's handy for those annoying videos that are panned left or right for some reason. For some reason nobody uses headphones to do their audio, which is bad. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything covered for the moment. I don't know if anyone else has had these issues, but yeah, still finding crappy things to take issue with here, which is frustrating as hell. I'm gonna try sleeping with the OBS again. Well, putting PC to sleep, not sleeping with OBS. I'd never. But yeah, it's confusing. I don't get why there's so many of these niche issues. Especially when it's basically just Windows 10 with a different UI. And a few more buttons, but still makes no sense. So yeah, that's that. Let's just hope the issues stop for now. So that's another great feature of Windows 11 I found. For some reason, I didn't even notice this before, but it's probably because it's the first time I did it. If you organise things via tile, you can also do this by hovering over the maximise button, which can auto do that, which is interesting as well. Like, it suggests some tiles that you can do, like without Microsoft Edge. No, actually they're the same things. This is the things I've had previously opened, which is really good. Still, like, it's one of these great quality of life features that you only realise that you need it when you see it. But even more impressive is it auto grouped something that I already put together. Wait, does it still? It's in the Alt tab, but yeah, it still grouped it. So I don't really need to open every individual thing again. So I tap into Final Fantasy and tap out, and it will allow me to go back to that group without needing to open every single one again. That's just such a good feature. Let's just say. Black Mirror Season 3 Episode 2. Jesus fucking Christ. It is probably one of the best episodes of TV I've seen, no doubt. The only part I didn't like is the cliche covered thing that I know the closing bit. It's probably going to happen, it's too obvious. But honestly, the sign coming after is also very obvious, so it's one of the worst bits of it. Everything else is just so well done. It is one of the most terrifying concepts of, well, dystopia and alternative reality gaming for that matter. One that's not only changing all your senses, but changing the entire perception of everything. Like, time, reality is just everything. Just like that. Just wanted to reach for something. Dry my eyes for some reason. It's getting wet. But it's just unbelievable. Like, how scary that is. Because obviously there's going to be spoilers, but the entire episode revolves around this guy who tries to invade a gaming company, well, just as fun, because he's on holiday, he's getting away from his dad, who recently passed away from Alzheimer's, and his mother keeps calling him. He hooks up with a lady, then he goes to this gaming thing that she suggests, and he goes through it. He goes through a few procedures, and he's told to turn off his phone, even though he's got to take pictures of everything and not tell anyone. He eventually did. And that's the last thing he ever said, it seems. Because what happened next is, again, terrifying. He went on to test out the game briefly, the whack-a-mole thing. Just kind of interesting. I think it's pretty accurate as to what people are trying to do nowadays, or companies even, with alternative reality, like using things on the table like stickers or something to mimic the 3D stuff. It's like I don't know what you call it, a waypoint, cube map or something, I don't know. There was something like that. And that site as well. It's just interesting, and mom calling in between. It's like, oh god, he's caught. What was the other thing? He went to the office to meet the guy in person, and yeah, just had a strange interaction, and had to get another thing uploaded supposedly. only to discover that it sort of had a delay and it was actually fun. It's sort of like a fake out. And they all sort of look at each other like, okay, did this work or didn't it? Then they move on and take him to a haunted house. And he's a bit unsure about it. Just he's not sure at first, actually, he's unsure later on. And he starts seeing things, which is what the alternative reality thing does. Like, as I said, he was playing whack-a-mole with a completely 3D rat. Just kind of crazy. Then, so he goes through this haunted house, he starts seeing things. He sees a spider jump scares him, and then a painting has a man in the window, turns the lights on and off. What happens after that? Here's stuff in the quote-unquote pipes, which isn't real. Also, I have to say that the actor is amazing later on, before I forget. It's just fucking incredible work. What was after that? I completely forgot. He goes to get some food, I think. Some ginger snaps. I don't even know what they are. We don't have them in Britain, I don't think. Unless it's actually ginger biscuits, which we do actually have ginger nut. So it's interesting. Then there's this really good bit that I liked initially, but then just didn't like the cupboard. Where he has the door open, he's actually self-aware enough to think, oh yeah, there's going to be something behind this. Goes it, and of course there's nothing behind it. Where it really went wrong though, which made it shit, it's that scene anyway, is the fact that it was a jump scare after that. Which I did see coming as well. So that was kind of crappy. It was also, I forgot to say that the other thing he saw before that was based on his bully, and the spider is based on the bully and the spider. So two things he, I guess, recently encountered. So he's like, came from high school and stuff. Again, he's an adult, so full grown bit, so I don't know actually. Not sure what the timescale is for that. Yeah, it's just interesting. And then there's something that goes wrong, I think, and his hookup mate appears from earlier in the episode and warns him that he's in great danger. Yeah, it's probably weird because this is the thing that he's implemented with is basically an AI, and it's only meant to adjust his audio and visuals according to the company. But that's in its own dream, which you find out at the end of the episode, which is fucking insane. It's quite a complex story idea, and it's executed so well. So yeah, he gets confronted by his supposed hookup partner. He met in the UK, which for some reason is a Japanese company in the UK. It's just bizarre. So that's an interesting thing. And he obviously signed up for this experiment. I don't know if they said the risk. It wasn't really clear on that. There was some papers actually. Now I think about it. There's like one missing paper, which I thought was actually a trick. I thought that was like, oh, you're already in the playtest, but the episode's literally called playtest. What happened after that? Yeah, the girlfriend gets a bit, say girlfriend now instead of partner. She gets a bit sort of defensive, and he's starting to probe why or how she even knew he was there without, because he's not allowed his phone in that place. He's asked to turn it off originally. It's honestly, it's one of those episodes you should watch, but it's like, it's so fucking terrifying. I'll just say what the scary bits are now instead. She tries to murder him, it feels real, he gets stabbed in the shoulder, he falls down, and his girlfriend turns into a monster. Like quite literally, physically. And starts attacking him, trying to kill him. Then he heals her by putting her head through the knife wound that's for his shoulder, with a head for it. And he wakes up suddenly and comes back to reality as if nothing happens, but he doesn't remember it. And the person on the other side is obviously communicating with her. So the person who saw him through the procedure realises that something's wrong because he wasn't communicating. And they say that he needs to. Well, actually, I think he says he wants to stop, and they agree to it, and they lead him to a quote-unquote access point. He begins having a nightmare, and I sort of expected to see something related to his father there, but I was surprised not to. So it's pretty unexpected. Then he starts freaking out again, I think. He realises that there isn't actually anything here, and he was tricked, and the woman on the other side is saying this exact thing. Then he starts freaking out again, and he sort of snaps to reality again, to an extent. What he thinks is reality. Then people come in, including the woman, and eventually the director, I think is the owner of the company. He starts talking about stuff in Japanese, I think. I think he's Japanese. I'm pretty sure Saito is a Japanese name. Saito, technically speaking, not Saito. Yeah, and eventually they tell him the terrible news when they try to remove the thing. This was apparently the access point. They tell him that it's overridden everything. It's changing his memories, and he doesn't even remember who he was. Which is exactly the nightmare he didn't really want to happen, because again his father died of Alzheimer's and lost his memories. So he was going through that. That's already one of the most terrifying fucking things alone. Not only to have reality rewritten, but to have not only those memories, but lose ones that are even crucial to yourself, whilst only remembering the bad. It's absolutely insane. And then they sort of tell him that it's the end for him, I think, and he gets dragged away. And I think, yeah, he sort of goes back to reality again, and he's in this room with the director. So back where the supposed failed upload happened. And it seemed fine at first. I think he had it removed, and he had it removed. I remember the wound. It's the only place it appeared, actually, because he had something in his neck for that. They said it was only 1 second real time, and he lasted in that nightmare for longer. That's just how it went wrong. And so he went back home, supposedly back in reality. And he found his mum crying in the house because he didn't answer her call. And then he confronted her, but she didn't recognise who he was. Again, another fucking terrifying thing. So it's people forgetting him now. Which is sort of what I guess his dad went through too. And she's saying, like, I want to call Cooper, I want to call Cooper. Fucking hell. It's such a heavy episode, but also so terrifying. What's the other thing? Yeah, she tries to call him, and he's sort of shouting, no, don't do it. And he snaps back to reality for a brief second, only to find that he's having a seizure back in the sort of first procedure from, and he's bleeding through the nose. It lasted 0.04 seconds and he died. And it was because he left his phone on to take the picture, and his mum was like calling him. So that technical issue cost him his life. So it's pretty obvious what's so fucking terrifying about this. Not just the alternative reality thing of horror, basically hijacking your memories and your physical senses even. Not sure if I mentioned that. Even like the fabrics of reality. But also the fact you can live through multiple at a time is basically, I guess it's Inception. Not sure if that's a more accurate term. Um, something like that though. And yeah, he just ends up dead. He gets put in a body bag. Cause of death called Mom. Yeah, that's also kind of dystopian because it's like they're trying to, I guess, minimise the damages put against them. Um, so they're probably making up some excuse rather than their own. So it looks fucking terrible. But holy crap, it is absolutely fucking terrifying because that could literally happen today. It's not outside the realm of possibility, especially if are messing around with alternative reality, but also Neuralink, which also seems to be a theme of this show for some reason. There seems to be a few episodes sort of referencing that, oh, let's take over your brain sort of thing. Let's hijack something. Yeah, it's really fucking scary. It's not a show for the live heart. You know, I'm not squeamish or even really scared of horror things. It's psychological horror that can actually scare me, and thankfully now I'm off the meds, I'm less so susceptible to that. I remember watching Evangelion, the Neon Genesis, and sort of being scared of that because it's like so eerie as a concept. God, the fucking movie. Is it the third one? Spoiler though for this. She starts hitting. Is it Asuka? Yeah, it's Asuka, isn't it? Yeah. But he just starts hitting her on this like random abandoned planet. It's like, what the fuck? It's just one of the most shocking moments I've ever seen in an anime. Bloody hell. This episode of Black Mirror is something else. It's amazing. But again, terrifying. It's one of those things that you really just don't want to see. It's also, I guess it needs a trigger warning because technically speaking, with how complex the story is, I think the more intelligent you are, the scarier it can be. So I think if you are really susceptible to that sort of thing, don't fucking watch it. Like, trust me. Surprisingly one of the best episodes that you should watch. Which is bizarre to say. But literally that's the problem with it. That's one of the other big problems. The only big problem, I mean, you can't really watch it without feeling like a sense of dread. It's impossible. It's terrifying. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that episode. Unless the rest of it are uninteresting, I don't really think there's going to be anything else to talk about with it for a while. Although I'm sticking to routine again, so I might watch more. Anyway, let's move on. You want to know a massive sign of cowardice? It's when people are running for politics and they decide that they don't want to speak to specific people. I'm pretty sure Nigel Farage was challenged on that, and I'm pretty sure even the Labour Party in the UK at the moment has seen that certain people can't question them, which is really interesting but scary. I just think that the situation is pretty fucked, and you know, it just shows a sign of. So I just love it, the Final Fantasy thing. We're doing the same fight again and again. How many times do we have to teach this lesson, old man? But that transitions into the topic because it's literally old people fucking over the country, and yeah, they probably all got some sort of ultimate or something. I don't know. But yeah, when thinking about like Trump and stuff, it's very obvious that he's cowardly. You know, otherwise, why the hell would he try and target innocent civilians? Because he knows they're telling the truth. He knows that they're onto something. And his own fucking grooming gang and stuff, basically ICE, or the terrorist organisation as well. Pretty much everything that you can name. They've been murderers, for sure. But they're all terrorising people, and it's obvious that Trump is hiding something. And he's doing it on purpose. And it's basically fucked up in so many ways. But he's doing this to silence the opposition because he knows again that there's truth on our side. Yeah, like, what do you do about it? Well, you revolt. That's all I can really say at this point. Because there's not really much else you can do. One of the big problems is I see just misusing power. They're using weapons and stuff to threaten people. They're masking themselves. Just doing a bunch of horrible shit. And they just can't be allowed to get away with this, honestly. And one of the things I'm most scared of is massive crowds of people. Like, if you can send them running, honestly, that's probably the best option. You know, they need to be scared. And they're more scared of you, I think, than anyone else, to be honest. There's nobody strong in that lot because they're picking on vulnerable people and they're going against their own fucking rights. There are people saying that this is against the Constitution, and whilst I don't know what it is, I can tell you that I trust someone who follows that over someone who doesn't. So, yeah, or someone who's just more knowledgeable on it, for that matter. Which Trump is not, obviously, as he's proven. Man, it's so fucked in many ways. Apparently they're targeting children as well now. So it's very concerning. But yeah, in terms of the UK, Keir Starmer is a coward, Nigel Farage is a coward, and probably Jeremy Corbyn at this point because he's not always been in the good books. I'm sure he said the right things here and there, but he hasn't always been right. And it's like the all party stuff. But yeah, there's like so much going on. But I think it's worth calling it out because one of the things I need to say that is really important is you have to allow opposition and debate. Otherwise you are just simply a coward and you're not fit for leadership. You know, one of the big things about being human is just making mistakes and learning from them. If you're not doing that, you're simply not human. So it just really sucks when you see people not doing that. So yeah, I don't really know what else to add here. My voice is getting weird because I just eaten and it just gathers saliva. Also spicy food, so it doesn't really help. And something needs to change though. So good luck out there and call out the cowards. Remember, open-mindedness is your friend. So assuming I don't vomit from heartburn and acid reflux, I wanted to talk about basically my dream web browser, of all things. So for a while I've been using Microsoft Edge, and this has been since like probably 2019 I think, is when I started using it. And you know, like everyone else I had a reaction, I was like, ew, Microsoft, ew. Perfect, ew. But it was it came as a shock to me because it was actually from a video that recommended it. And the video was basically saying that this is currently the best web browser on the market. I thought, well, I've been a Chrome user, how the hell can it be the best on the market? So I tried it, and then I realised, oh, it's actually pretty decent. And one of the realisations I had as well is with the fact it's basically default Windows now, it means it's a bit more accessible. So when you have, say, like family who go on the internet, I have family that do, at least that often anyway on a computer, let alone, it means that you can help them navigate these problems more easy. So getting used to this could mean that you can help give them technical support. So as I usually do anyway with tech support stuff with family and stuff, it comes naturally, but it only comes more naturally when you have a situation like this. Sorry for the chair. I probably need to get a new one, but I can't find one because they don't have one that supports my weight. I'm 139 kilograms. When it comes to family, I tend to know at least the technical issues that they have. But because some things are like alien and stuff to me at times. Apple products are pretty much alien to me at this point. I only use Android. It becomes difficult. So having something that's similar, like a web browser like Edge, can be helpful in troubleshooting the issues, like if they have any. And same with navigating it. So that was one of the reasons, but the other reason obviously is because it's basically on Windows and it's probably better integrated that way. And the fact it's based on the Chromium web browser is interesting, because it means that it has a lot of elements of Chrome. It's not even a word, isn't it? Browser. Chrome. It has some elements of it, and it seems to do it well. My first experience in impressions of it, I did an unbiased review. I still have it, I think. I posted it on the DeviantArt of all things. And I had positive impressions of it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to stick with it. You know, it's not perfect, but I liked it, and it certainly does things better than Chrome. And so I stuck with it for, well, to this day now, still. And I never really changed. I did attempt to change around a few years ago when I realised that the browser was kind of starting to suck. It added things like collections and groups, which are amazing. I fucking love them. It makes it so neat and tidy. I don't like the frequency of updates, that's annoying, and also the disabling of extensions when they crash, which is also annoying. But everything else is just decent with it. There's not much to complain about. I've had optimization issues here and there. I've had HDR videos not work properly, which is weird because, again, it comes with Windows. So I don't know why it's having that problem when Windows supports HDR. So that's a weird bug. Apparently they never fixed it. It's been around for a few years. That's the other thing. I don't know. Really, the big thing for me at the moment is actually the implementation of not just groups and groups and collections. It's also the efficiency mode, because I'm quite environmentally conscious, as much as I can be at the moment anyway. And I tend to like to have things disabled in the background whilst I'm not using them. This way it allows for something's wrong with the background. I don't know what's happened there. It's gone white. Actually it's the software. It's not the background. Heck, fuck for that. Damn software. Where was I? I like the sleep function of tabs. It turns it off basically after a certain while, and it'll refresh it when you go back on. And that can be pretty handy. Also, like, you can name the groups, obviously. Pretty much you need to have that if you're going to do groups. What else is there? I guess certain parts of it are quite accessible as well. Trying to think what it was though. Yeah, it does sync across devices, but I have had a bug before where logging in on my laptop would change everything on my PC version of Microsoft Edge, which is really annoying because it meant I had to remake collections, and there seems to be this bug as well with certain versions of it, at least over the years, where collections just completely disappear for some fucking reason. It's just incredibly dumb and incredibly dangerous. So it shouldn't be happening. That seems to be like some of the main issues. I have had pages crash before randomly, and I don't really know why. It's not really explained. Yeah, YouTube currently has an issue. I don't know why this is happening, and it seems to have started happening on the Android as well. It's just annoying because usually the ad blocker on that, because I have it on Android as well, believe it or not, yes. I mean, you can make bookmarks, which are really handy for like app icons, so I can log into YouTube and skip ads basically, but Android has ad blocker by default. On the Edge browser, I mean, not Android itself. I think you need to enable it though, if I remember correctly. But it used to block ads, but now it doesn't. So I'm in a situation now where I'm in need of a new browser, which is really fucking annoying, especially one that'll keep me logged in and stuff. Also, I can view my history on there, which is also the handy thing with having it across multiple devices. It saves things from one device to another, so that's really good. But on Android it started showing out, so it's really annoying. Basically that's it. But on YouTube, on the PC version desktop, for some reason it buffers the video for the first few seconds, which is very odd. I'm not 100% sure why it does this. It doesn't really make any sense. So that needs to be fixed, I think. And then we sort of get on to the point where I tried to switch and I couldn't find anything. I think I tried Opera GX and Brave browser, and this was because of their policies and stuff. They had a decent idea of what to do, but one of the big problems with them, as you've probably guessed, is they don't have the same features as Microsoft Edge. So that immediately made me just not want to use them. I did try both and I didn't like them. I imported all my data and I couldn't find any way to make collections or anything. There's no extension for it, so bye-bye that went. So no longer any productivity. And I did think about using Mozilla Firefox for a while, but it doesn't have any fucking group thing again. And apparently they've gotten shitty. I can't remember what it was exactly. It was either the ad block stuff or just funding, possibly. But basically don't want to use that. So we're left with Unreliable still. And the fact it's pretty much unbeatable at the moment is quite embarrassing, in all honesty. Because usually Microsoft has a track record of making terrible browsers. You know, Internet Explorer, I think was the main one for a while. They tried to fix it again and again, and they just fucking socked it. They completely failed and fucked it over. And, you know, Edge was a surprise because it was like, oh, why are they doing this? Like, we know it's just going to suck. But then I got my hands on it, and many other people did, I'm sure, and we ended up liking it. It's like, oh, holy crap. So that's that. Yeah, that's the only other thing. It defaults to Bing. I wish I'd just ask you the search engine rather than fucking put it in your face. That's a bit silly. And even though I'm a bit more partial to Bing now just because Google's being shit, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. So it leads on to why I want a dream browser. Like, what is the dream browser to begin with? As you probably guessed, it needs to be pretty much Chromium based because, let's be honest, it's pretty unbeatable. And I don't really know any other model that would work exactly with my limited knowledge on how web browsers work anyway. The next thing obviously would be being able to transfer data, pretty obvious one. I'll probably skip over many of the other stuff like downloads and stuff, so you know what that is, but importing data is important. As important the name. Just realised it. What's the other thing? Collections and groups. This is the biggest fucking thing for me. Because I really want to have my, obviously, web browsing experience organised and be able to open them up as well. That's the other thing. The point of collections is to have them able to open up again, like have pages that I browse daily. And I use those to use collections to open them. It's about 16 different pages. So yeah, I'll get around. But that's important. Because you may also want to group stuff that's like for work, for example. You might need to open different Google Docs and stuff, and that's important for that as well. So that's why you need collections, but groups are the same, and it also opens in a group anyway with collections. So I'd want something like that. But another important thing, I guess, is more reliable extensions, because one of the big problems with Microsoft Edge is there's a track record of extensions just basically becoming useless and unusable at some point or another. You know, I've had to remove a few over the years, but sometimes they just don't work. And they claim that Chrome extensions work on it, and I would want that just as an option, but I don't think it always does, and it just fails as a result. But when you think about the extensions, the main thing that comes to mind is like inbuilt VPNs, which I've had terrible experiences with. Like so bad that I have to default to the desktop VPN software. So that immediately needs fixing. I don't know if it's a VPN issue or what, but it just seems to be unreliable either way. Also keeps logging you out every now and then. I don't know what the other things could be, but extensions could do with optimizations and stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. But customization is also kind of important. I definitely want like a default tab page being a bit like Bing Spotlight, because I do sort of like it. But I don't like the new stuff. I don't like the widgets, and I just want backgrounds and stuff. Like, and just important things. Like taking notes from Samsung's actually really good Android wallpapers. They have a collection of wallpapers that you can download and scroll through basically. I mean, each time you open your phone, whether you have it on the lock screen or home screen. And this can lead to like some really interesting finds. Like you can find a place in the UK you didn't even know existed from that. And it's really fun as well, because you just see things you wouldn't usually see, like landscapes or even animals and artwork you wouldn't otherwise see. And it's just fascinating. I'd love something like that, just built in. And it wouldn't take much resources either. It's basically just downloading from the web. And I'd also allow the option to save it as well, and source it to, you know, find the source of images as well, like share them, that sort of thing. So it's more community driven rather than a corporate driven thing. That's another thing. I don't want it owned by a fucking corporation. If anyone tries to buy it out, just fuck off. That'd be a great browser. And yeah, you need to employ people for sure. But I don't think. I think people in this day and age just want more independent. I also want it to be open source for that matter. That's another important point. Basically being able to share it and have people work upon it to make it suit their own, or even just code it so there's like a theme or even like a settings adjustment that can work on the same browser. That's really important. Because yeah, like nobody's perfect, and that could literally be the browser name. Nobody's perfect browser, NPB. That probably means something bad, but anyway. Yeah, it's important that people are able to edit to meet their needs and stuff. You know, the problem with Microsoft is they lock everything behind random shit, and it's so unnecessary. It just doesn't feel good, it doesn't look good either. It just sucks. Yeah. And I just want a good browser that just cares about the user base, rather than just being a means to an end, like some other browsers can be. But it's hard to list like all the functions I'd want. Like there are other niche things, like I want the option to remove like certain things from the drop down list. For example, why the fuck is print still here? Like if I'm looking at porn, for example, and I accidentally click print or Control P, it's like, oh no, don't send that. No. You're gonna see my weird fetishes. My probably like gay porn, let's be honest. That's what the main is. Sorry. But I want to remove stuff like that. or some other things. Yeah, also because it's not like corporatized, it wouldn't have like create a QR code for this page, which I'm looking at now. It's really annoying. Just so many unnecessary things in these browsers for some reason that don't need to be there, but they are for some reason. So it just feels fucked in other ways when you look at other browsers and you see, yeah, that's a thing. Okay. But they're probably going to incorporate ads, and that's what I mean by open source. You know, something that can just connect over the internet. No strings attached, no fucking gimmick. Just be a basic browser. Offer functionality and accessibility. Oh yeah, like readers and stuff, and not that I really support AI, but like a computerized version to actually summarize something. You know, shorten out words, remove specific words, even like that's not even an AI thing. It is actually a function. You know, you can remove certain words that just don't need to be there, like they call it, is it verbs? Now I don't fucking parse English, I'm not qualified for this, but removing stuff like that to make an article simpler to read is like a good idea. Because many people just can't read, like myself, I can't read long text. So having that sort of accessibility is important too. So it is important to address that. I'm trying to think what else it could be. Also, a lot of customization, I think, is important too, like colours and text size and stuff. Dark mode, like just built-in dark mode. I want to see every website with dark mode. But even maybe like a reader mode, or even like, I don't know if colourblind modes exist, but that would be great as well. Just various functions and stuff that work, that give a shit about people, and that's important. Now, I want this to be better than Chrome and Edge just combined, essentially. And obviously optimization is very important, so I'd have like the sleeping tabs thing. What else could I do? I can't really think of anything, to be honest. Maybe productivity things like sticky notes or something for the page. And you could easily like toggle them with like a button press. That way it's not annoying. It's actually convenient. Like a really niche button press, like maybe the. Actually, I'm trying to think. Okay, the backward slash. That's one of the most useless buttons on the keyboard, and it does have its purpose here. Just hide the fucking sticky notes. It's kind of funny actually. Yeah. That's basically like a dream browser idea, and I'd love to see this made to be put into, say, execution and stuff. I want to see it done essentially and be my new favourite browser. Yeah, it'd be amazing. And yeah, I'd also sort of fund it, like if there was a subscription service, like something like that. Maybe there's even like a way to put in a VPN just by default. That'd be fucking amazing. Or maybe even just pair with someone like a company for that, but not force it on people, obviously. But it'd be great, really, to have a lot of these features. A bit of VPN would be good. Just saves the hassle of getting a subscription there and then. It's just there when you need it. Not necessarily attached to a computer, it's just attached to the browser. And I'd actually make sure it works, otherwise I'll just scrap it entirely. Yeah, I think that's about it, honestly, for my dream web browser. Interested to know if any people have some sort of ideas what they could add to this. It's interesting. So let's try and move on to the next topic about dying in Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, that's good. So, Final Fantasy XIV is down for maintenance, and I'm a bit bored, but I'll probably go back to my routine at some point. But God, I wake up to something interesting today, sort of. It's a political custard video. I've been watching these over the past few weeks, and there's just some interesting moments. It just sort of highlights the big problem in the UK at the moment, and that seems to be a lack of information, disinformation even, and entire like scaremongering and shit. Like, it's so bizarre. And this video also was called "Flag Fuckers Get Horrendous Abuse," or are they? What's it actually saying? Are they called out as big as they are? It's probably the best flag fucker addressing video there is, honestly. Other than the people who do it at home, obviously. This guy's actually out there in public, taking issue with the raise the flag people. And this guy there is being talked to, this raise the flag fucker, raise the colour even, and he's technically raising the flag as well. He's completely ignoring everything this guy says. And this other guy in the black suit is speaking just complete sense. There's some interesting parts on that like whole 2-minute video even. Because this guy's trying to make the point that these people who are raising the colours have not had a single fucking interaction with immigrants. So they do not know the actual full story, which is interesting. So it again becomes the point of, oh, well, they're just basing this off of something they saw off the news, so they're always going to be wrong. But in general, like, a lot of these things are solvable if you just talk to the people. You may not like them just because of what the fuck people have said about them, even in the news, but you have to talk to them, because you won't know otherwise. Because you forget that these people are human to begin with, and that already invalidates every single thought you have about these people. So that's one of the obstacles you must overcome. The other thing is you need to be able to be open-minded and listen to everything that person says. Because without that, you'll just end up falling for the same garbage again and you'll be brainwashed. Because yeah, this is literally what the video highlights. It's brainwashing. That's what Raise the Colours is, it's what GB News is. It's complete fucking brainwashing and scaremongering and that. So we really need to address that, and I don't know the best way to address it. But it's just incredibly frustrating whenever this shit happens. It never makes any sense either. Like, there's no reason for the anti-immigration stuff, and as I've said, I can easily side with you, but I've not been proven to come to that side because there is a lack of evidence. And what the people are saying is not actually true. Going back to the quote-unquote evidence that people have used, it's literally from various news sources who are not even reporting on the actual facts themselves. And news is supposed to report on facts, but nowadays they're corrupt and they don't report on anything even relevant or valid. So it doesn't make any sense, and you have journalists also doing a similar thing. So it doesn't work out in the end. And this is why you have such a divide. And because people rely on these sources as a way to get news, it ends up failing. And you have conflict. This is why we have currently a news crisis problem. Like, literally going to call it for what it is. The current news formats are based around negativity, and they're typically based around exposing race, which for some reason people think is something that will get them taken off the air, which is not true, because they've literally been racist this whole time. It's one of the most bizarre things I found out recently. It's just one of those things I questioned as well. I thought, he's critical thinkers, like, okay, well, You know, the people saying they're not allowed to not allowed to report on people's race, and then suddenly there's like tons of reports on people of a certain race, and you see it with even gender and disability and sexuality, all of which are irrelevant. Because believe it or not, anyone can be fucked up in the head, even a special needs person. So it's not impossible. But again, I have to stress the fact that it's important to recognise that these people are human. So yeah, you may have someone fucked up in the head who is maybe lesbian, let's say, out of just completely nowhere. And let's say a lesbian abused a child. Like, yeah, that's horrible. That's really fucking wrong, but the point that she's lesbian is completely irrelevant. It doesn't tie into it unless there are specific things related to the sexuality which have led into that. So there could be like childhood trauma, like, oh, you can't be lesbian or something, and that's led to like being hit and stuff, and then that trauma's just been passed down. Like, yeah, but that isn't even a headline, it's more like an explanation. So it hasn't really got any sort of relevance to the sexuality, it's just relevance to the trauma. Still, it's really hard to try and justify using a label, and that's where the news really fails, and where it is actually kind of racist and homophobic and stuff. It's important not to just get all your sources from the news. You know, I think if people spin it to the side of one party in the story, or one side, one community, or whatever, you definitely need to take a step back and try to even ignore that. Like, look at the facts and look at a different news source. You probably want one who's going to be as unbiased as possible. I'm not sure about Ground News, not sponsored by the way, but it looks like they might be able to provide some sort of unbiased news reporting, which is definitely good. It might be worth looking there. But then there's the final thing I want to address, and that is the claim made by the Erase the Colours guy before his friend came along. It seemed like his comment was it's somewhat justified, but it does also still expose the same issues. He basically said during the conversation, obviously the black suit man talking over him, he said, I'm just afraid, not hating, so well, I think maybe it's the other way around, it's not hatred, I'm just afraid. Which is a point I've heard quite a few times, and it is important to address it. This is again more proof of what I just said. It's the news brainwashing you, it's the news scaremongering. There is nothing to be afraid of. You know, in like the 28 plus years I've been alive, the amount of religiously motivated attacks has been like, what? It's very few. Like, there hasn't really been many. And you know, even then I hear it from sometimes from the people who are against them. And it's not even frequent there. So these points about being afraid of these crimes committed by someone of a different race or religion simply doesn't exist, at least in the frequency that it's being made out to be. And you know, if you did maths, you would probably understand, but basically, bigger number worse, smaller number better. But depending on where that lands at the scale, obviously, it has different meanings and different effects, but you can't also assume everything's the same there. But essentially, if you look at the amount of crimes committed by white British men, it's in the thousands, and that tends to be on like a weekly basis. Actually, more like a daily basis. That can be weekly as well, I guess. But if you look at crimes committed by people of race and religion, again looking at the actual facts and unbiased sources, it comes around to like well under 100. So, of these thousands, the most crimes committed are by British people. And even from a percentage, if you were able to get that, it'd still be predominantly British people. And defining the threshold for when something is actually a problem of race or religion is going to be very difficult. I'd argue it's only a problem if those numbers start getting bigger than us British men, or British people. And that's really the line that should be drawn. It's when the problems start to creep up and get worse that is only really a problem. And this is the only scenario where that is a thing. But this is purely hypothetical. This isn't reality. But if that were the reality, we should be worried. But at the moment, there's nothing. So there's literally nothing to be worried about. Nobody to be afraid of. You might be trying to blame immigrants, but you're probably projecting. You're definitely not taking the jobs that they're taking, for starters, and again, this is rooted in various sources, it's unbiased evidence. And billionaires are paying less, so you naturally don't want to take those jobs. And the immigrants are taken because of desperate situations. So yeah, that's the facts really. And I'm going to call this, it's not hatred, I'm afraid, probably, in the segment. I think this is important to address because I feel like some people, especially left-leaning and socialist or whatever, can tend to ignore that fact. Because there's a lot of focusing on the hatred, or call it hate mongering, technically speaking. But again, recognising that people are human, and very much what this race the colours guy said is very much an emotion, is important to address it. And do it again in an unbiased way. Explain reason, explain the facts, and do it calmly as well. So, the race of colours thing and anti-immigration is still complete bullshit. So there's no reason to believe it. There's no reason to be scared. And the UK will be fine if you just promote someone who would actually do a good job of running the country. Not just Raj won't. He supports Trump. He probably wants the country to be like Trump. Which, by the way, is a hellscape. Look at everything that's going on in the US. Look how many cover-ups there are. You do not want that. And that's going to harm more children. It's going to harm more women. So be careful who you vote for. Let's move on. Yeah, what a random fucking topic to even discuss now. So, I was curious just a few minutes ago about what I do if I was living in a smaller space, and I generally tackled the idea because I was wondering, is there a world in which I can live in a quieter place, but also a smaller space? It wasn't supposed to rhyme. Face? I don't know. But I wondered what it looked like if you had a smaller space, because I was seeing I think it was in the Vara media, is it, I don't know who the person is actually, but they appeared on the, saw the tiny room and I thought, oh, that's a really small room, that can't be a bedroom, right? That made me think, like, well, technically it can. If you got like a chair like that, like it was there, they just put it out every night, and yeah, it just worked out in the end. And it got me thinking about what could I fit into a tiny space. And actually, when I look at it, a lot of the things in my room can fit in a tiny space. The only problem is like shelves and stuff. So I decided to look online to see any ideas about this, because I was curious. It might be something I have to prepare for in the future, given the current UK politics situation, which I won't go into. But basically I could be either put out on the street or put into a tiny fucking cage. So yeah, if I get a tiny room instead as like a middle ground, I do have to prepare for that to an extent. And my initial thought was like van life, but seeing the laws tied on that and also how badly some of them are treated, it's like, nah, that's probably not for me, even though I love to fucking travel. It probably won't work out and it might have more issues for me. The biggest thing is like noise. I do not like hearing outside noise. It frustrates me, it's too loud in most cases, so I don't want anything to do with it basically. So I got looking, and what did I see? Not small rooms for hobbyists, but massive fucking rooms. When I looked for small rooms, literally those words. So Google Images once again proving itself fucking unreliable and useless. But not only that, it seems like it's I do have a VPN on, so maybe that might contribute to it, but even then, it's not technically a small room. You know, these rooms had at least about the same size as my room currently. It's like 12 or 14 feet across. Yeah, my bed's 7 feet now, not 8 feet. Oh god, I can't remember. I think my room's about 11 feet, let's say, across, and then 16 feet long. I do have a room sketch somewhere. I wonder if I could search for it in a sketch. See, the app still work. I don't need to sign in. Oh, never mind. I don't need to sign in. Okay. Fuck. I'll find it, I think. Because I'm pretty sure on the measurements on there. But it's weird. Yeah, where's the room sketch? Anything else? No. It's probably in pictures actually. Nope. Okay, it's weird. Nope, okay, so I can't find it. But man, like I said, it's a average size space, and the images I get recommended there on Google is fucking bad. Because I wouldn't consider them small, and actually I've known a smaller room. Well, in the first place I ever lived in, I've actually lived in several houses where I've been given a small room, like 2 times, or one I was growing up in as a kid, I had a bunk bed in there and a TV in the corner. That was all that could fit in there. Somehow managed. It was a very small room. Definitely wasn't enough for 2 people, which was me and my sibling. Luckily there was another room, so when I grew up I got that room luckily because I had 2 small rooms previously. And my sibling had 2 large rooms as well eventually. Yeah, I know small rooms. Actually my first ever actual room was actually quite big. It's actually at my dad's place. But my mum's, the room there was still small. It was about like 9 feet. But it's so cramped that I barely had any room for my guitars. Like I put them on the end of my bed in the end, and had some storage boxes to put my sort of clothes, well not clothes, out of the wardrobe, a bit onto the wall. I had clothes, underwear, socks and stuff put in there. Jesus Christ, that was tiny. I'm thinking back to it, I'm glad I'm out of that space, and looking at it now, what my room typically, it's I say like it's about 2/3 of my room currently, which might not seem like a massive improvement, but it is actually quite a big improvement. Yeah, I didn't realise how cramped it was until I moved, and it was like, oh shit, that's incredible. So yeah, I've known small spaces for a long time, And these rooms I see in the images are not small in the slightest. They have over 12 feet of room in width and over like 20 feet in length. So it's massive. Like, those rooms I consider huge. And like of every house I've been into in the UK, I don't think I've ever seen like a massive room. Not outside of other family, but there's a sort of like the wealthier side. That's besides the point. But I'm just so frustrated by that shit. Like, I can't get an idea, because these rooms, whilst being big, also have another big problem. They're often used shelves, and when you look at it, these shelves are stacked to like fucking 10 feet high, and the ceiling's much higher. Like, what the fuck? One, how are you supposed to reach that? Two, who's designing this? What's an interior designer, I think, at this point. Three, like, is this even fucking useful for anyone? And also, not everyone has that sort of luxury. You know, a small space is alright for most people, but how the fuck are they going to reach up there? You know, what's the point of this extra height? Like, you might as well just put some insulation or something above you and just have it like that, so fucking keeps the room temperature stable, and you also have the benefit of probably more soundproofing. So yeah, that shit don't make any sense. But it just really frustrates me. So yeah, but I'm not an interior designer, that's the thing. I do have an idea of what I can do though. Well, I had considered getting shelves for this place even. It's definitely possible. You could put things somewhere that's more useful. And it'd look a bit nicer. I could just have a shelf for a keyboard actually, like above my computer. I've considered that for a while. It'd be really good to have that, because I want to play keyboard eventually, potentially learn music that way. I don't know. Fucking annoying. I think I have to go because someone's making a weird noise outside my room. Anyway. So I got another fun music topic, and this time it's about a artist. Luca Sticagnoli. Didn't read that name properly. I wanted to talk about specifically his guitar. And just how fucking genius it is. Like, I'm trying to look for pictures of it. Okay, here's one from Sticagnoli.com. And there's an image of the guitar up close, him smiling. Is it multi-scale? Hang on. I think it's like multi-scale. What the fuck? It's the same one it uses, is it? Fuck, it is. Okay. That's another thing. Sure. But I just wanted to talk about the genius of it, because I didn't realise this at first, but he's got 3 necks for a reason on his guitar, and also you can do percussion as well, which is extremely impressive. But I was surprised at the 3rd neck being the bass. That's the only thing I could critique about this. I'll say it's a fretless bit, which is interesting, but I don't know why it's 3 strings, because you probably have more than 7 notes, and I get you won't want a 7 fucking bass, but it's a bit weird that it's 3 strings, but I do know the reason why. But first let's go through what I use as an X4. So it seems like the top neck, the 6-string guitar, is the standard, and this is basically for playing the rhythms and, well, arpeggios if there are any in the rhythms. It's what you'd be playing most, and all the pictures pretty much reflect that. But then he's got a 7-string, and this is where it's really clever, because most songs follow a standard scale where they have 7 correct notes, and basically you can tune these all to basically be. For some reason they use thicker strings on the top 3 still, which is a bit odd, but you can make them sound like a lead instrument, and that means you can actually tune them to those notes, which is also really insane. So it means you can play open strings, which also makes it a really great lead instrument, because the open strings sort of, they obviously vibrate out and create a wider sound. That's why it works so well. So I think that's fucking genius, and it's multi-scale as well, so it has more to do. It's like it's got some tension, I guess. Which actually wouldn't that make it tighter for sounds? I'm pretty sure it'd make it tighter. Yeah, it's so interesting. It's fascinating. It's so fascinating to see that. See a guitar that's actually designed with thought, what it actually going into it, into the fucking entire thing. It's kind of crazy. I was just so fascinated when I realised that, and that's what caused me to want to make this, even as a topic. Because it was just like shocking. Like, wow, that was really interesting. It's just unbelievable how good that is. So, what's the other thing I was going to say? Pretty sure there's something else with that. Also, you can just go between them, like play the lead instrument if he needs to. He does. Then we get onto the bass, which in my opinion is really interesting because I know the reason why it's actually 3 strings instead of, well, multiple. So, from what I could tell, he plays the bass in an interesting way because he has 3 notes there, he can do it open. But how the hell would he play the other notes in the song? Or whatever the key is, I don't know what the actual term is. I realised when he was playing it in some of the videos anyway, I could double check this too. I'm pretty sure he was putting his palm against it, not palm, but sideways hand, and strumming the notes. And you can see him sort of rest it on the bass itself and also play it as if it's like a lead instrument as well. And look at Feel Good Inc., his cover on that. He also has a capo on the leads guitar, which is also interesting. But he's tapping it, and yeah, that works for like Feel Good Inc. But what about others? He did one recently, actually. Oh, fuck, I need to find it. He did one, a Bruce Springsteen cover, which is interesting. No, it's not that one. There it is. It's 1 month ago. Saw it recently. For some reason there's 2 capos. There's other ones that you can adjust the notes on. It's amazing. But it doesn't sound like he's playing an open note in the bass at the moment. And he's resting his hand on it quite hard, I think. Yeah, like literally you can see this. I'll have to add to this again for some reason because it has crashed. I have to try and remember what I said before. So I got to the bass part, talking about the way he rests his hand against it, which is fascinating. But you can also tap it as well. It's also at an angle. It's also raised, sort of serving as a thumb rest. So if you've ever played bass, that's why. But yeah, it's just such a fascinating topic. It's certainly someone I recommend you check out, especially if you're a guitarist, because it's like, wow, that's fucking amazing. Literally never seen anything like it. Yeah, I think that's all I had for the topic though, specifically anyway. Yeah, let's move on. Black Mirror, Season 3, Episode 4. Just to quickly clarify that I didn't skip on. Episode 3 was okay. It's not really got anything of note, to be honest, because it's just basically the White Bear one again. It's basically quote unquote vigilantism gone wrong again, and it's done in a fucked up way, obviously. And yeah, everyone's evil, and that's basically the moral of the story. It wasn't really that interesting, honestly. I did find the reveals a bit surprising, but either way. Uh, season 4? I want to say season 4. Season 3 of episode 4, though. It's also an okay one. And the only reason I'm talking about it is because it's a different concept. I kind of like it, but kind of don't. It's weird. It's really hard to figure out what was going on because a lot of these hints are like, oh, it's kind of like you don't really know what it's going to be. And when I forgot the name, like I think Kelly's maybe there's a character list, I don't know. But it's 3 episode 4 characters. So fuck's sake. Kelly, Kelly, Yorkie, that was it. So Yorkie meets a woman and obviously falls in love with her. That's funny. Well, the Twitch chats I was just going into quickly. Lesbian Pride, that's very funny. Yeah, so they meet and it starts out as like a conversation that's kind of like, oh, Yorkie's not really interested at the moment, and then she realises, you know what, can I try it? Go try hooking up with this other woman. And she does eventually. And only conversations that actually happened beforehand is Kelly tried to basically get this guy off her. It was kind of like being creepy. Also, it's based in the 80s, which is interesting. I did sort of take my interest because I don't know much about the 80s, I just know I love the music. It's interesting to have that insight. Anyway, she's trying to get rid of this guy, and she basically says she wants to catch up with this lady who's Yorkie, called Yorkie even, not Yorkie a dog, which I mentioned. Yeah, and she makes up a story, which is the first big hint, which I didn't even really realise. I thought, okay, she's ill. But she said she has 6 months to live. Then Yorkie corrects her, saying actually 5 months. Which, strangely enough, is, yeah, that's really obvious foreshadowing. This all relates to the topic later. Anyway, they hook up. Apparently, the first time they've had sex as women. That's what Kelly said, I think. Yorkie definitely said that, I know, but Kelly sort of had some other story. She was already married before that, which is, again, interesting. It's like a lot of character depth there, and you still don't know what the fuck is going on either. It's like, okay, you know they might be ill, but from what? And my immediate thought was 80s STD. Luckily it wasn't, and it's actually something else. Because unfortunately the AIDS pandemic back then is quite awful. There's a serious lack of treatment. I think it was 80s, I could be wrong actually. Was it 1990s? I don't know. Maybe I got that wrong as well. But yeah, but that's what I thought it was about at first, because it wasn't really alluded to that that was the thing that was happening. And then Cassie sort of runs away for some reason, doesn't appear again. Yorkie wants to find her. Yorkie finds her eventually, and finds out there's a weird place for like sex stuff, where there's basically no consent, which I also thought was an interesting detail and kind of a hint as well. I'll sort of explain that later. But yeah, it seemed like a lot of weird shit was happening there. But she finds Kelly somewhere else and is asking like, why the hell did you sort of forget about me, or did you leave me, sort of thing. And then they decide to hook up again. And then they sort of have a conversation about stuff, and yeah, also because Kelly sort of breaks her heart again, thinking, oh yeah, she's not worth it this time. Yorkie sits on that building and Kelly talks to her, climbs up there, and then they bring up a weird conversation like, actually I've got the notes here, that's why I write these down. Where is it? How many of them are dead, like what percentage? Then Kelly says, as in full-timers. And she also says 80 to 85, which is weird. Then the next scene they hook up, that's when it happens, and then they say that, I don't know how long there is. It was Kelly that said that, I think. Which is interesting, because I write down the quotes as well. And then later on, Yorkie brings up, you said you don't know how much time there is. What does that mean? And then Kelly says, they tell me 3 months. It's spread basically everywhere. I immediately thought again of STDs. It's a weird conversation, but yeah. I thought this was going to be a story about that, essentially. Well, weirdly enough, I was actually thinking, like, probably something to do with mortality. So it wasn't close, far off even. It's kind of close to the mark there. And then she said, for some reason, doesn't even taste of anything. What? So that was weird. Then she said, Cassie said her husband died 2 years ago. He had the opportunity to stay in June. You know, I can't remember what the fucking name is. I got the first bit, June, but not the last bit, so I'll just call it Pepperoni, June Pepperoni. And immediately I thought, like, wait, they can transfer consciousness instead of dying. And then Yorkie said that if you really met me, you wouldn't like me. Which was like, what? What do you mean by that? So that was very weird. And I joined in my artwork as well at the same time. It's weird trying to multitask, it's fucking bizarre. Who said that? I can't remember who said this, but someone said, come on, I showed you mine, where are you? And then the other says, let me come visit, I want to come say hi. It's probably Yorkie? I don't know. And then it sort of goes away from this scene and goes into a different world, which is futuristic, sort of. It seems like a futuristic retirement home by the looks of it, because basically Kelly looks a lot older. And it's interesting because this means that they're living in a alternative world, or a simulation basically. And they appeared younger in there, which is also kind of weird because that's kind of what every fucking old person wants. Yeah, they want to be younger again, they want to be young again. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, she goes to visit Yorkie, who's currently on a deathbed, which is sad. And I found this funny actually, the way that Kay comes in. Hello, stupid. It's good to see you. That's pretty good. There's some sense of humour here and there, but not always. I do wish it was more frequent though, in all honesty. It's sort of needed in some episodes. It's one of those things. It's just kind of dark about it. Just pure darkness even. Anyway. And then there's weird conversations about... I've got a cough, I've got a pause. Conversation with a guy there who's, I think, responsible for looking after Yorkie. And he's talking to Kelly about this sort of stuff. Simulation or something. I don't know what it's actually called. They didn't really get a name for it. It's weird until the end actually. I didn't even remember the name. Didn't even write it down. But she wants to be with Yorkie for 5 minutes apparently, and that's all she's got to spend time with her, which is fair enough. But apparently they need to be passed through, was it? Is that the terminology? I could be wrong. I think they wanted to be passed through somewhere, but what it was, didn't know at the time. Yeah, they spent time and then sort of break up. And then Kelly, I think, tries to kill herself, which is weird. She did that at the retirement home actually after sort of deciding to marry Yorkie after sort of cheating on her. That's a weird thing. They're both cheating on each other's husbands, which is weird. I forgot to mention that bit. It's interesting. So they sort of become married in this simulation, and then they go back. Well, Kelly goes back to her retirement home in the real world, and then goes back in the simulation. So it's like, yeah, gotta do this again. And then they have an argument, and that is it. And then she gets cut out of it again. So, yeah, she tries to drive off and stuff, and gets in an accident in that simulation, and sort of dies. I don't know what happened there actually. It looked like she got really badly injured. That's all I know. But she disappeared in front of Yorkie, so it didn't really feel real in the end, even though Yorkie was trying to convince herself of that. And yeah, Kelly sort of goes through a few moments, I think a few months actually, and thinks about what's happened, because actually Yorkie appeared right near the end of that simulation, the last one, and so I guess that was like a catalyst for Kelly to decide, like, okay, I want to pass on, and passing on is actually transferring consciousness to the simulation, to a data center, as we find out in the end, which is just what but she makes up with Yorkie. And yeah, also have to say the backgrounds in this are fucking insane, like the lake view, like the hill view, the beach even. It's actually insane. Also the music choice is good. And especially the last bit of music, Heaven is a Place on Earth, playing with the fucking data center. With all in the simulation, and this massive fucking data center of robots and stuff. Sort of keeping track of this simulation that's happening in June Pepperoni, so I called it. There's also an opening up about the past life, and unfortunately like a daughter who died at 39 and her husband and stuff. Actually already knew about the husband. Yeah, there's like sad things like that Kelly mentions. It's a weird, interesting Black Mirror episode, because it's like, at a certain point it seems like a good idea, but at the same time it's like, it's kind of like not a good idea. Because one of the things to take away from that is that your consciousness is transferred to a data center, which, I don't know, we can't even comprehend how that would happen to begin with in today's society, especially with everything going on. And that'd be fucking awful, because it'd mean like cunts like Trump gets us to stay alive anyway. Yeah, it just, there are good and bad things to that. Yeah, being able to live out your days young in your dying moments is definitely a good thing, especially if it feels the same, like as if you were young. I think that's generally a good thing. But obviously, it's not good that this technology is basically taking advantage of that. And who knows, like, there's probably some bad things associated with it. But yeah, what a strange episode. I don't really have much to say about it, I just thought it was okay. The idea is interesting, but I don't know if the execution is that good, in all honesty. It's really my only massive criticism of it. It sort of ruins the episode to an extent. Because I was just confused. By the end, I was like, okay, they're in a simulation, like, so what? Like, are we all? Like, isn't that sort of point here? But I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird episode. Not sure I can recommend it though. It's the strange thing, even though it's definitely odd in the sense that it's a lesbian reputation, but it's sort of an accurate one at that, because it's just based around sex. For some reason, at least to begin with, and then it's like feelings, which is good. So it's got like weird yin and yang vibes. Is there even a term, yin and yang vibes? Probably is now. So yeah, the rap is fine, I think. Other than the cheating, that's also a very weird aspect. everything was sort of explained towards the end, but I don't think everything was sort of covered up exactly. Like, there wasn't really any hints about any of the other characters, like the guy that was chasing Kelly around, the guys that Kelly was hanging around with, even. But there's weird things like that weren't exactly explained at all. So I was kind of left confused in that aspect, because it's like, okay, what the hell are these guys? Who are they? And are they in the cloud? Well, that's the other thing. You know, the thing with that credit scene, that was confusing. You saw like everyone labelled with a code, but it didn't have their names, I don't think. So you could have had a character there, like, was it Greg or Craig? And have them like in the same sort of data center as, or data rack even, let's say, as Kelly and Yorkie. Like, why isn't that a thing? I'm a bit confused by that, and they could have just flashed an image of it anyway. So there's a bunch of weird stuff like that and weird consistency issues. Also, how many of the people are real? How many are fake? There's a lot more questions than answers, which is quite contrary to what the Black Mirror is about, in my opinion. It's certainly something worth discussing, but it's not really answered. Usually these stories end with a pretty clear message, and this one's kind of like, there's not really anything. You know, it's just a simulation, and there isn't really anything questionable about it, other than it's kind of like, oh yeah, you can transfer your consciousness if you want to, but you don't have to. And that was it. So, I don't know. Again, very strange episode. I'm not sure I liked it, but at the same time I kind of liked it. I don't know. It's just really, the entire review is like mixed. That's my title for it. Yeah, so let's see what episode 5 has in store. Maybe that'll be more interesting, hopefully. Just a reminder of the Gaza Global Summit Flotilla. Whatever countries are saying to say they support it, or to say that somewhere in the UN or EU Parliament they're suddenly going to get involved, just take it with a grain of salt. Because we can't fucking take them seriously. Like, are you kidding me? Like, if it's taken this long for something to happen, then something is still wrong. And they still need to answer for those crimes. You know, I wanted to open this by saying don't delude yourselves, but I don't know what else to say. Seriously, like, if you think all of this is progress, it's not, because it should have happened long ago. It should have happened the moment it started, as I've been calling this out for years, not soon. But technically, yeah, I could have been calling out for years. I could have been calling out from the start had I had the knowledge around it and the understanding. But nobody seemed to give a shit, and yeah, like, it's just frustrating. There's nothing that can be fucking done. So sending again the ships there with aid is always a good thing, because the moment that Israel slips up, it's very much curtains for them. They're fucked. It's not good that they intercept people and don't get punished, because this means that they get away with more. As I've been saying, they've gotten away with rape apparently now, with some of the Global Summit Flotilla activists. And yeah, they're trying to distract as well as the world from getting the aid to Gaza. But the more that these ships appear, the more likely I think some will get through and they'll be able to deliver aid. The problem is they have to have surveillance on it, and they do live stream it as a result as well, so that the world sees what happens. And I did actually see one of the boats intercepted by the military. I remember I was just on the YouTube homepage suddenly. I was like, hang on, there's a boat on that thumbnail. That's not the same boat. It says. So I looked at it, and yeah, Literally Israeli forces boarding them. They literally targeted the camera first. Like, they didn't give a shit. So it goes to show that this is real. That this is happening right now. They're doing these illegal things, they're doing horrific acts behind the scenes, and the lack of interception from not just these quote unquote Navy vessels that were sent there, but also countries upon seeing this go down is an atrocity. Just plain and simple. And any country looking at this and knowing full well what's happening is complicit. There's just no doubt about that. And yeah, all these leaders need to be taken off their seats and need to start electing someone else, because the people obviously don't agree with them. They don't like the inaction, so that's where we're at with that. So I've got a weird topic to talk about. It's about a controversy that went down just elsewhere on the web. I did originally try to make something for this, but the HDHG got the best of me, and it probably will again. So hopefully nothing happens. But basically, there was this interaction with an anti-immigrant person, for some reason calling me out on not knowing the difference between illegal and legal immigrant, which I very well do know, and I have addressed many times. And there's also, they said the fucking cliche, said the line bot thing basically. I think it was actually something that a lot of people said in the early days of this fucking movement shit. But basically saying we're not racist or we're not far right. But they literally are. That's the problem. And that's why we're calling it out for what it is. It's far right ideology, it's dangerous ideology. It doesn't have a place in today's society or government. So yeah, of course we're gonna fucking call that shit out. But anyway, I've made a few responses, and over time this idiot for some reason decided it was a smart idea to start talking to me on other platforms, asking for a verbal debate, and without going into details about why I can't verbally debate. Basically I just ended up with saying no and gave my reasons. But essentially this user was a bully. There's no other word for this. It's literally bullying. And this is a case because I know what people try to do. They look for debates thinking, oh yeah, I've found a vulnerable person. Let's fucking embarrass them online or something. I've seen it happen multiple times. I've even seen it on certain quote-unquote unbiased debate channels. And yeah, that's actually what happens. I've seen some of the worst debates on that, and it just seems like it's bullying at that point. Like literally, and I remember the moderator, I forgot what the channel's called, but it's like a sort of a, as I said, unbiased debate channel, and it's like, yeah, they don't give a shit that these opponents were being bullied, even though I disagree with them. It's still bad. But that was terrible, and I realised the error in their ways. They decided to essentially debate someone without the knowledge or know-how about their own position, let alone theirs, which is important. Understanding your opponent's position is extremely important, and that ties into one of the things I wanted to say. I have a non-negotiable and undebatables, basically calls. Other than being unable to verbally even debate, because of social pressure and just the various distractions that can happen in between, and just suddenly forgetting, because that seems to happen. I'm just not really reliable for that. So it's better to debate in text, where I can be calm and also come back to things if I need to edit them maybe, or just add. Whereas in a social situation I don't have the room for thinking about that sort of thing. So it becomes really problematic. So yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. But again, talking about the undebatables, and also non-negotiable things. People have to be honest if they want to debate me. And honesty is shown when you can show that you can. Show you can too many times. What we're going to use instead? They need to demonstrate that they can change their opinion or something, just on the fly. And that's really important, because I've had my opinion changed the same way, and if we're not on that same level, we're probably not going to get anywhere, and there's no even relation there. So of course I'm going to fucking get annoyed when someone's not admitting yes or no questions to things like, do you agree with X thing, when I'm saying it's right. And if I know it's right for sure and they say no, then they're being dishonest. It is ridiculous. So yeah, I just wish I would change. But people seemingly don't seem to give a shit about changing, so that's a problem in itself, and that's another undebatable problem. So I don't really know at this point why even bother. But that's the thing though, I don't really consider these people worthy opponents if they're instead trying to be dishonest and closed-minded, just trying to cause the most amount of harm possible. Like, that's objectively a bad thing. So of course I'm not going to fucking give them a chance. Like, that crap is what just makes nothing happen. It does nothing, it doesn't even serve your own position, so why are you even bothering? That's genuinely my question there. You learn to make skills over time of either watching them or figuring these things out, just naturally. And that's pretty important, because again, you need to be open-minded and not closed-minded. You need to be honest. You need to actually give a shit about not just your own position, but the other position as well. That's the other thing. Demonstrating an understanding of the other position, if I haven't already mentioned it. This is also extremely important, because you need to understand those arguments to understand your own. Because one of the biggest flaws I see in debate is people just not really doing the research and doing their sort of looking into the topic. So they fail on these points because they fail to grasp the opponent's position. Let's say, maybe it's like flat earth theory or something. Basically, let's say someone is debating flat earth and globe earth. Okay, let's try and change the positions on it, obviously, of what's factual. So, or maybe not, actually, it's too complicated. Because even though I can't really justify flat earth, even if I try. Fuck. Okay, let's do globe earth then. So, the flat earther needs to understand and come at this from the position of a globe earther. Because trying to understand flat earth from a globe earth position is really crucial to getting people on your side. Without doing that, you're essentially succumbing to the same old bullshit that comes with that sort of thing, where the opponent doesn't understand you, they don't see any relation in that sense, and yeah, like they're left to essentially ponder rather than actually have any answers. And you just make less effective points when you don't understand the other position. Yeah, it's the reason why, using another example, vegans versus non-vegans. The vast majority of vegans were once eating meat and having dairy and eggs. So a lot of these arguments do come from a good position. But if they didn't, then it's harder to debate for sure. I'm not saying they should go out there and do it, but I'm saying that they're probably not the best to debate someone like that. So they can't exactly put they can definitely put evidence forth, but they can't put the position that they were once not vegan, because they actually weren't not non-vegan at some point. They're always vegan, supposedly. So it's incredibly important. But even then, like, I see non-vegans do this a lot. They do not research the vegan position. They assert a claim that's not actually true. And it just doesn't do anything. Like, nobody changes their mind. it's a back and forth, and if you've seen it where people just admit, like, yeah, I'm happy to abuse animals because it tastes good. Are you fucking kidding me? You didn't understand a single thing about veganism, and now you're saying that. That's just fucking dumb. But also, it's just extremely selfish because, despite that, like, there's demonstrable proof that the vegan lifestyle is the way of the future to ensure, actually, not really enable, we already have a planet, but ensure that the planet is safe, to ensure that we're not committing any health atrocities or even environmental hazards. And on top of that, we also need it to become more ethical, to teach us that harming animals is objectively the wrong thing to do, even murdering them. So that's why it's important to look at the other position. You've learned so much that way, and then you even learn if your position is correct or not, because you'll find problems, no doubt, when you look into the other's position. And I've done this myself with the anti-immigration stuff, which is kind of why this entire conversation is weird between me and this other user. Well, I call them bully now, actually, technically. So I've sort of exposed what they did, what they're trying to do. Yeah, I've understood everything I can, and the position comes from a place of hatred or doctrine, or maybe just being closeted. Like, let's not forget the fact that a lot of people are hypocrites, and it can often be the case as well in anti-immigration, where people claiming to protect women and children, supposedly from immigrants, are the very people that are the people harming women and children. So there's a lot of that hypocrisy, and that's why sometimes people can fail on that position. You know, there's obvious contradictions here. You know, this reminds me of this thing I saw with a grinder crashing at Charlie Kirk's memorial, because a lot of gay people are closeted. They don't want anyone to know, so they don't reveal it to anyone, and they instead attack people who are gay. And this sort of distracts people from the fact that these people are closeted. So, you know, think about it. You look at the audience at the Charlie Kirk memorial as a hypothetical. Just imagine how many of those people are potentially gay, or just are. And that's someone just exploring it. You know, there's definitely such a thing as like a quote-unquote video hookup sort of thing. Yeah, like that's what happens. It's extremely worrying, and it also shows a vast amount of dishonesty. It's extremely harmful. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to add to this. As I said, there are various criteria, clauses, I don't know what you call it, for people to be undebatable and so non-negotiable in that sense. To the point where I give up, and I actually did block that user that's still talking about that bully. I stated my reason and just blocked them on both platforms, and will continue to do so in the future if they ever return. Because this shit is annoying. It's not that I'm trying to get away from discussing the topic. I'm very well open to discussing it. There's a difference when it becomes instead about insulting people and also building up this law in your head. That's the other thing I noticed with this bully. They seem to have this idea that I was essentially not knowing the difference between the migration stuff. I won't repeat it actually. But that was the accusation, is also like, oh, you're using a bad example for America being really bad for immigrants. But they completely ignored the fact that this is what something like race of colours wants. They want fucking ICE to actually go out there and arrest innocent people for being suspected immigrants. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how is this not anything like ICE? I want to know that. Because it is literally becoming that. And we've seen it with the gangs again, that I've found recently. It's like a gang on Instagram, for me to repeat it, that's targeting specifically Muslim people, and they do this to terrorise them. And they plan on putting them in cells, which again is fucking horrific. I do not know why this is a thing. It's just really bad. But holy shit, that is so wrong, so dystopian. Yeah, this gang poses so many threats to just the general public because it means that as they are masked, they are in black, they are a direct threat to people's security, not just Muslims but women and children. Because they can very well kidnap any of them, they'll do whatever they want with them, and because the UK isn't doing anything to intervene, it will happen. It's fucking disgusting. So I cannot fathom how this is even allowed to fucking happen. And I really can't understand why people would ever stand with anti-immigration when it's all related. You know, their sick desires to rape women and children, their sick desire to, for some reason, deport immigrants, even though they're for some reason raping them, which is weird. I don't really understand that. I'm not a rapist, so I won't fucking know. I don't even want to fucking think about it. What was the other thing? Deporting immigrants being racist is another big thing. Because it's quite obvious when it is racism. It's discrimination against someone's skin colour, you see it anecdotally, you'll see it in the crime reports for basically on a monthly basis now. You'll see an increase in the amount of racially motivated crimes. So it is racist. Because these are all associated with each other, they're all linked. So you can't claim to be left-leaning or progressive when you're saying something like this, when you're saying deport illegal immigrants. So yeah, it's stupid. Anyway, I better move on because it's gone on for a while. And also to take this opportunity to do the outro. Why not? It's gone on for long enough. Yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see everyone another time. Possibly.